When I first heard the concept of the friend zone, I thought I totally understood it. But the more I hear about it, the more I either didn't understand the term, or possibly some people are overreacting to it, or both, or maybe the meaning has just changed from the original intent. See, a long time ago, there was a friend I'd had a crush on since before we were friends. But that never happened just because I'd had a crush. We had a lot of friends in common, and I enjoyed her company. At one point, I finally worked up the courage to say something about my attraction. Believe it or not, I am a terrible coward when it comes to making first moves in a romantic context. And when I do, my taste in women has been regrettable. Asking for dates is one of the few places where my confidence evaporates almost entirely. So my friend said no. And sure, I was disappointed, but we stayed friends. Nothing really changed. Not really. We've been friends for several years already. We stayed friends, and we're still friends to this day, and I just had a better idea of where I stood. No biggie. I was cool with that. At least now I knew. And when I heard the term friend zone, I figured that's what it meant, being told no romantically, but hanging out with each other anyway, 'cause hey, friends are good to have, right? In fact, speaking of friends, there was a whole plot in the sitcom Friends about Ross being in Rachel's friend zone. They explicitly used that term, but it was fairly benign, perhaps more neurotic than my situation with my friend, but the basic formula was there.
You waited too long to make your move, and now you're in the friend zone.
No. I'm not in the zone.
Oh, Ross, you're mayor of the zone.
But the more I hear about it in, well, every other context, or at least the most recent context, it's being described as horribly misogynistic, that being friend-zoned is a rejection of an offer of sex. Not even romance. The point was always getting a little something-something, a little rumpy-pumpy. And to some guys, that rejection is sort of a personal attack against them. It's less, oh darn, oh well, and more, that bitch, how dare she. This has caused me some cognitive dissonance. My first idea of the friend zone seems so damn intuitive. It's like a Venn diagram. Here are the people I know, here are the ones who are friends, here are the ones I'm attracted to, and maybe those overlap, maybe not, but if you're my friend and I'm not attracted to you romantically or sexually, you're in my friend zone. It made so much sense. This sinister, misogynistic take on the concept, where being friend-zoned is being turned down for sex, and that was the only reason for ever starting the friendship in the first place. Well, I suppose it shouldn't surprise me, but that still made me double-take just a bit. You know? And that's not the only term I've found like this. Some are technically harmless, just describe a state of being, but they come with so much cultural, social baggage that using them will communicate the wrong message. I recently had a conversation with a friend who has PTSD about the origin of the term triggered. Now, I know people with bad tempers who, if you deal them the tiniest slight, it'll set them off, trigger their anger mode, cranking it to 11, which is how I picture the origin of the term, but apparently not. It seems it comes from the concept of PTSD, triggering a reaction of fear from stimulus related to the horrifying past incident, and it's just a bit demeaning. Or social justice warrior. I care about human rights, I'll cheerfully fight for them. Technically, you could probably characterize me as an SJW. But the cultural baggage with the term describes people who go way overboard and will take up just about any chance to wave a sign and protest. And that's not me. My activism mode is far less rabid and screaming than an SJW, as they're currently described. I'm apparently not a social justice warrior, no matter how much the term might fit based solely on phrasing. It's frustrating, because so much of what I do requires communication, being able to unambiguously convey my points using words. But with terminology changing as much and as fast as it does these days, that gets kind of difficult sometimes.